everyone. I hope traders and investors alike were green on Friday. Coming into a fairly light week of data, we do have CPI on Tuesday. We have retail sales on Wednesday. Thursday we have PPI, and we also have Fed Mester speaking. She is vice chair. So that may give us some movement in the markets. We also earnings. We have some names reporting this week, but it's not top tier names like Palantir, Coke, Shop, Cliff, DVN, Airbnb, Monday.com, Roblox, Roku, Upstart. We got Checkpoint, BTU, DDOG, DraftKings, Marriott. Deere's reporting this week. SEDG, Crocs, Gold's reporting. AMAT, GNRC, ANET, MRO, Kraft Heinz, that's KHC, Twilio's reporting. So we have a lot of names that we track reporting, so that should provide some good trades in after hours and running up into the report, playing them after the report, and trading them during the actual report when the numbers come out. So as for the charts, we'll just dig right in and take a look and see where we're going this week. So we do have our put to call ratio. We did get it to move back into the bearish zone. The markets, nothing really wrong with that. Like the traders just realized the markets were getting ready to pull back. We've been expecting that. You can see the oscillators here for the NASDAQ at negative 168. It's warm. Negative 133, warm on the New York Stock Exchange. Plenty of room to move in either direction though, so we can still pull back, further. You can see the SPX here on the weekly. We had a nice strong green candle earlier on in the week, and the bears were able to pull the candle back down. So kind of got a weekly bearish inside candle, inside day. You can see SPX here. This is our breath chart. And you can see we are pulling back. We were expecting the pullback, seeing the breath pull back and the momentum coming out of the market. So this is TNX. This chart, it basically trades like an inverse, like bonds. So right now we know bonds have been pulling back, and with bonds pulling back, that's putting lightening up on the pressure on interest rates. So we see TNX pushing up. We know interest rates are pushing. So our interest rates right now have took this downtrend out, and they are rising. U.S. dollar, we've been tracking this again. This nice flag pushed up above the 50 flag and off the 9s. Exactly what we were expecting there. We've been tracking that, watching that very closely. The VIX here, you can see the VIX, we did get outside of the Bollinger Bands on Friday. We were able to pull back in and close. This could be signs of a reversal for the VIX and to come back down to the 9. The bulls lost interest here. The bulls were in charge here and had the candle pushed up. You can see the change in momentum. Candle pulled back and actually closed red. So you can see where it opened up, pushed, pullback, took out the opening range, and then moved below it. You can see crude, nice push on Friday. This is coming from some news out by the Russians cutting their barrels per day, and so we got a big candle on Friday off of that action. We may still see some movement on crude, throughout this week. So we definitely need to keep our energy names on the radar. Once again, we need to keep our bank names on the radar as well, and we always do. You can see Apple. Apple here, we dipped below the 9, was able to recover and close back above this 9. It's a good sign. Money's still holding in with Apple. SmackD, we're definitely seeing a change in character here, seeing it level off. Keep a very close eye, see if it pinches and crosses, or if it just crosses and turns down, or if it just pinches and opens back up. So you can see this is an interesting chart because last week traded within that Friday's candle, the big Friday's candle. The entire last week traded within that candle. So, these ranges on this candle here is going to be important. If we happen to break out of that range, look for a move down in whichever direction, or a move in whichever direction it breaks. If it breaks to the downside, we're going to look for a move down. If it takes this candle out to the upside, we're going to look for a move up. You can see Apple here, 15-minute chart, trading in an ascending triangle. I actually call this a bottom ascending triangle, which is on the bottom. It's an ascending triangle, but it's just on the bottom of the chart. Gold breaking down out of this bear flag, which doing exactly what we expected there. Advanced decline lines, we've lost a 9 here. Turned back up on Friday. Nothing major, not a lot of strength there, but it did turn up a little bit on Friday. But we have broken below the 9 there. Let's go back. Just wanted to take another peek at that chart. AMC pulling back. You can see we're right into the Bollinger Band here, so you could see a bounce trying to come back up and reconnect with the meme. It's worth keeping an eye on. AMC off the lows here right at the end of the day. Traded very poorly right at the end of the day. Just last 15-minute candle, took the price action up off the lows. Not sure what happened there. AMD trading in this little descending channel here on Friday. Amazon, this pattern's looking a little interesting too. Shoulder, head, shoulder, just weird. It's nothing textbook. Just you can kind of see it. Not like I say, it's nothing textbook. This candle's already right here. If you were to draw this line across here, this candle's already broke out to the downside. This is worth watching. It's just worth watching. We know Amazon's been a little on the weaker end of the charts, the tech charts that have been trading. ARK, we broke down. We did a video earlier. Not surprised after seeing this candle. It took a few days. Took breaking below the 9, but you can see the big move down. So we're not surprised. See how this 20. If we open up tomorrow, we close below it. So if we open up below that 20, that's going to act as resistance, and see if we can take that out to move up. Or that could be if we maybe come back, retest the 20, look for a move down off of that. Just a couple plans to trade it. Your MACD is crossing to the downside. Avi, we got this nice move down out of this double top here. Come down here, put in this little base. They reported earnings, pushed up on it, but I just never like to see these big candles and then see, because one end of the spectrum, the bulls are in total control there, and for them to lose control, it makes you wonder if they didn't change their mind for some reason. Did they change their mind about why they were fighting so hard to push the stock up? And it pulls back like that. And Friday we got a big move up. I think some of this is because of earnings, and some of this is just simply because money's rotating back into some of these safety names right now as the market pulls back. That's something we've mentioned in a few videos to keep an eye out for. So you got AMD. We had this little flag. We have lost, broke out of the flag to the downside. Your MACD is definitely changing character there. So with AMD, where could we pull back to if we do continue to pull back? Well, obviously we can pull back to the 20 and everything be fine. But I think we could still even pull back to the 50 and the market still be holding on well. Kind of give the MACD and RSI, because we were hot, giving them time to cool off a little bit and reset. And you can see inside bar on the weekly candle still held the top, the better top half of that, because that's a big bar. So it's just a bearish inside bar, but it held very strongly. It's not down here, so it's not, it's not the greatest candle, but it's definitely not the worst candle. If this was a bigger candle and come way down here, I'd be a little more concerned about it. Affirm, you can see Affirm breaking down there as well. Affirm big move down on earnings. You can see that here. And we said in that video, the daily levels video, that we didn't think there was much to do on Affirm after making a move of that size. Amazon, you can see Friday's action there, nice chop. Amazon weekly, we have pulled back here, testing our weekly 20 now. Apple weekly, holding this weekly 50. Once again, it's an inside candle, but we held up here holding the 50. I don't think it's the end of the world type candle there. Boeing's still holding in very well. Like I say, I'm not one to, even want to try to short that for any period of time. I will wait for, it to break out of here before I just try to open a position. I need to see some, if it's going to pull back, I need to see it. If it's going to push up at this point, I need to see it. So charts, we've made a great move. All these orders have been coming in. I read about them last year in the 2022 outlook. BABA kind of inverted cup and handle here ish. You do have a gap down here if it decides to pull. It's holding in very well in this area. MACD looks like it's pinching to the downside. Bitcoin weekly flagging into the 9. That chart doesn't look so bad. But your daily chart here, this could be a shoulder, this could be a head. See if we put in another shoulder here. We could flag back up to the 9 and then get a bear flag off the 9. That would give us a head and shoulders, and then we could look for a move lower. I kind of hope that scenario doesn't play out, but it could, you know. Chewy just chopping around. CVX, so energy names, you can see CVX come down here, has bounced off our supports so far and holding back above 9. I think energy is worth keeping an eye on right now due to Russia cutting their oil output back. You can get if you were to draw a square on that, I could get a double bottom out of that right now, but it's not a confirmed double bottom until it takes out this, which is a previous level of resistance here that it's coming into. That level's been on the chart. You can see CVX here, not a bad day for it, pushed up. Energy was definitely the place to be on Friday. We had that on the radar. I even traded ExxonMobil a couple of different times. So CAT, you know, the one thing that worries me about CAT here is it's a value name, and right now a lot of the money is heading back into value names, and obviously this is not a confirmed head and shoulders until this is broke, but just wanted to point this out. So we do have this head and shoulders topping pattern here, but it still does need to be confirmed. It needs to take the neckline out and be confirmed. If we can get that, I would look for a move lower. So with CAT, the one thing that worries me, if it does break out here, you're coming into this is a big base. You know, we put this tight base in here with this tight price action, so that's going to offer some support in this area, and you can see that here in this volume profile bar as well. So we know we got support. So if CAT does break down, I want it below this before I'm looking to go short. Just it's a nice example of a small head and shoulders topping pattern. Charge point is rolling over. Biden's got some news out, and it could be bad news for Tesla, good news for ChargePoint and companies like Blink that are in the charging business. Chewy daily. Chewy has pulled back. You can see it's trying to hold this daily 20. You can draw a trend line across there. It takes the trend line out. You can try trading it, but it would have to take the trend line out. Top or bottoms. One good thing when you got candles trading like that tight, you got some tight candles there. You're probably going to get a big move if it takes those candles out. That's worth drawing, setting some alerts on. Draw a line across top, draw a line across the bottom, set some alerts. If it moves above that level, you want to know about it. Get your broker to send you an alert, and you can trade it. Coin's also breaking down. Not surprised. Take a look at that candle. We mentioned this last Sunday. Not surprised seeing this pullback. And actually, the week before we mentioned about the bearish divergence and to be on the lookout for a pullback. So we were just, we were able to be careful this week because or last week possibly knowing a pullback's coming and to be ready for it when it happens. XLP. You can see we're in a confirmed downtrend, just a series of lower highs there. DraftKings, I believe they report on Thursday or Friday. They used to always report on Friday, but for some reason I think it's Thursday this year. So we had this evening star topping pattern here with a heavy right shoulder, which to me is more bearish when your shoulder's below the previous shoulder. So expecting a move down there and got that on Friday. We posted that chart in the Discord. Lily, this head and shoulders topping pattern worked great. Looks like it's trying to take back the moving averages here. And I would be concerned about this one. Like I say, you got money trying to come back into these names now. I don't know for how long. I don't know how big of a pullback this would be. And of course, we'll talk about some of the things we're looking for, on this pullback as we move into the SPY charts. XLE. Nice candle on Friday, and that was coming from that Russian news. I still think that's worth keeping an eye on. For solar, we broke out of this little flag here. Once again, you got an evening star pattern with a heavy right shoulder. Put in this contraction pattern, trying to break down. Right now, you're below the 50. You can see the Bollinger Bands have opened up for this move as well. So if this thing wants to pull back, now would be the time to trade it. We broke out of some of this previous support here and broke out of this contraction pattern, maybe below this 50 if it wants to move down. I'm not interested in trading that one short. FCX, this went on the last Sunday. We put this on the the watch list, and you can see breaking out of this diamond pattern come back. Talked about this one in a video earlier today. That this would have been the perfect time to trade it, breaking back below. Could have looked for an entry there. Especially if you're somebody who wants to sit into them. Google's breaking down here, trying to hold the 50. We're not surprised with their messed up AI show that they did. They got a little screwed up. IWM trading pretty flat there on intraday. Q's breaking down here. You can see we got up here. Nice push up right into this previous level of resistance. This is a big level. It's always had troubles here. We did get above it, and then we struggled to stay above it, and now breaking back down. You can see the changing character in the MACD. Once again, you're coming back into another level, decent level of support here. 20 is coming up, so we're offering some support here. I can see us coming back down to this 200 or this 50, and still, 200 even better, but we could still come down to this 50 here and still basically put in a higher low and push higher. Pull back, put in a higher low and push higher. That's what we're looking for here. Q's intraday not quite as clean as the SPY was at the end of the day. The SPY was able to put in that bottom ascending triangle. Q's the W pattern here breaking out of the this is actually, you could get a double bottom out of this. No, if I put the box on it, no, I actually couldn't. So, but it just has a higher low here breaking out of it. Inside weekly bar on the last week's candle. JP Morgan, we come back down into this trend line here. It's not the same trend line I had originally drawn, but this lines up using this candle here, and still put you're holding this candle. So this could be holding support right now at the bottom of this previous symmetrical triangle, and we could be looking for a move up. Banks are definitely still on the radar this week. Las Vegas Sands breaking down. We lost to 9. 20 is acting as support there. Lyft had just a horrible report. Looks like they drug Uber down with them. Uber had a great report. Uber is definitely on the favored list out of these two. We've recently said that as well. So, these are, or Uber is definitely on the favored list out of these two by far. A very bad report, big move down. I don't know if it's worth shorting, or maybe you might be able to catch a bounce on it. This may not be the buy the dip market for another week or so. So you can see Moderna, this pattern's working. We talked about that earlier in a video today. Moderna intraday, big push there on Friday, and you can see it pushing up. And like I said, we did a video on that, talking more about that. MU pulling back here. Macy's had this huge down candle, posted this trend line, and we have broken below this 50 here, broken below this trend line. Friday's candle was trying to push back up into it. That could be a nice retest. That's worth keeping an eye on. Mara has come down, holding this 50. This is another one we were expecting. We talked about this being a possible head and shoulders pattern here. It's not textbook, but we were looking for a break below this candle right here. When we break below this candle right here to go short, and that was in our last video. Merck with a nice move up here, and that's one of the names we've been talking about, money coming back into. Meta's moved into this gap. This was a nice play. This is another play that was posted in the Discord. We posted this after it moved into, so we did not call this move. We had the screens up, had it on the radar, but I don't mean for this to sound like we posted this one and before it happened. We knew it could happen, but the chart wasn't posted. But it was a perfect example of flagging at the gap and then breaking into your gap and moving into the gap. MU losing your 9 and 20 there, working its way lower. 200 the next level of support. If we lose at 200, look for the 50. Microsoft green candle off the 9. That's just a small candle. If we move up into, if we cross, let's just say tomorrow we gap up, which is a whole different story, or we if we're pushing up tomorrow and we clear this candle and we start going into this candle, I'm short-term bullish there. Microsoft, you can see at the end of the day, getting a little right there at the market, the close of the market. Some of these tech names got a nice spike on them. You can see Microsoft here. We did close back into this right at the edge of this trend line, still holding above this 50, but we are right at this trend line. So I would prefer it for Microsoft to close outside of that weekly trend, kind of catch up with some of these other names. You can see Nvidia here. Nvidia is pulling back. You can see the two topping candles there, kind of looking heavy, pulling back. Nvidia, bottom ascending triangle down there on the 15 weekly. Nvidia is one of the stronger weekly candles, still held green on the week. So just that's a sign of strength. This is the NASDAQ breaking down. That looks a lot like the Q's chart. Netflix breaking down. They just changed their, doing their passcodes. They're sharing on their subscriptions. They got some news out on that. Palantir pulling back here as well. Took the 920 out. Well, earnings there on Monday. Peloton, and you can see, look at the struggles here. Strong all the way up here, and then you could see a change in character in these candles. So we're not surprised when we start seeing things like that. Now we know when we see these candles, there's a big move coming. When price action gets that tight, there's a move coming in the stock. We don't always know which way it's going to go, but there's ways to figure, to wait and see which way it's going to go and then trade it. Plug breaking down your daily 50s there. Q's, this is the Q's monthly. We still green here. That candle does not close, obviously, until the end of the month. Riot, not surprised to see Riot moving lower. Roblex moving lower as well. A lot of these names have earnings this week. That's another one has earnings this week. Roku, earnings this week as well. Breaking down. Friday had this up day, could not hold it. Big move back down. So bulls were in charge. Bears were on the way to taking that candle back. You can see the SPX breaking down there as well. Friday was an up day. It wasn't the easiest traded up day. I made money. So you got the diamond here. Still kind of trading on this little inside bar. Still trading within this symmetrical triangle here. As long as that's chopping around in that pattern, it needs to break out. SPY, this resistance level here on the weekly is still resistance. We pointed that out. SPY, this is the downtrend chart. I would not be surprised. It would actually be textbook to come back down and, continue this line out, come back down and retest that trend line. See us coming back to that 50 with no trouble, and then pushing back up. SPY, this is the SPY monthly. This 20, your monthly 20 is still resistance. SPY, you can see breaking down a lot like the Qs there. Breaking down out of that bearish harami. Bottom ascending triangle, intraday on the SPY. Our trend charts are definitely changing here. So long-term and medium-term trends are still bullish. Short-term trend has turned bearish, losing that medium-term trend though. Square moving lower. Big candle, big down candle on Thursday. Shop also moving lower. Shop's another one that has earnings this week. This is the weekly 20-year. The 50 up here is resistance, but you can see we hit just like this previous resistance level here was like running right into a wall, and now bonds are moving lower. That's causing interest rates to rise.